Judge, if I may,
Yes.
can we, there's a, just to get an overview of what the new proposal is, Mr. Castillo is on with us. And maybe he can give us a overview of what the new terms and conditions are for the antenna.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I apologize. I didn't get a chance to, or I didn't get a new draft from from our attorney. Just a kind of a broad overview of what we were requesting was one to, of course, renew the contract for a term. Each contract would be for a term of 1 year with four automatic renewals. So it would be in term a 5-year contract. Within that contract, we were looking to add additional access points to be able.
Access points. New access points to the locations?
Yes, sir. I apologize. More access points so that we could provide more bandwidth, migrate some customers off of the older equipment that we're currently using on that tower, and then eventually pull those older access points off. In addition to that, we'd like to add an additional point-to-point connection, which would give that tower some redundancy. Right now, that tower hangs out all by itself. So anytime that we have a problem with the other side of that link or that radio that feeds it, that tower goes down completely. So we want to find a redundant way to feed it.
Okay, so we're still reviewing the terms, compensation, conditions of renewal, and all that, or is that what you're going over? The 1 year table?
As far as we're still getting right all the specifics back from the attorney. Yesterday morning he emailed me just to get some specifics about where and
okay,
what height I wanted.
We sit down. The commissioners would sit down. Let's go ahead and table it. I'll make a motion to table. Okay. I have a motion to table in a second. All those in favor say aye. 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 Do we have the other votes? Yeah. You got them all, Jason? And all those opposed? Motion passes. Okay.
Mr. Castillo, when does the current contract expire? At the end of this month?
Yes, sir. I believe so.
Okay, if you could get your attorney to forward us the final contract, we're going to have another meeting on April 24th, I believe. Did you get that?
That should be plenty of time. I fully expect that he should have it to me either today or tomorrow.
Very well. If you could email that to us, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we'll move on to agenda item number 7. Consider take action to authorize county judge to execute a lease purchase agreement for a 2021 Mack VR64F dump truck for use by Precinct 4 Road and Bridge Department. Okay. Commissioner Rosales?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, Judge?
We can hear you, yes, sir.
Okay, yes, it's a renewal lease on the, we're trading in the new one we bought last year, and we're just getting another truck coming in at the end of the month, so it's just a renewal contract. Mr. Guerra had already gone through it.
I make a motion to approve. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. All righty. Agenda item number 8, consider take action to adopt a supplemental order requiring protective masks of individual in public places. I don't believe it's necessary at this time to proceed. Mr. Guerra, are you on?
Yes, Judge, and we had put this on about, I guess it was about 8 days ago now.
Right.
Mr. Acuna and I put together a memo based on what CDC had basically reversed themselves on this issue. Originally, they had said that masks were not advised. Later on, they reversed themselves about 10 days ago. Mr. Acuna put out a memo encouraging voluntary compliance. And I think we've seen around town that there has been voluntary compliance. The extent is the question for you today. Are we getting enough voluntary compliance, or does the Commissioner's Court need to take the next step and actually impose some type of mandatory order? And so that's what's before you today.
Recommendation?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
I think what we'll do is we'll continue the state's recommendation. As far as ordering another or adding this to the declaration as another.
Distance is the most important.
Right. I think for the most part, our constituents and our residents are complying and on a voluntary basis and following the recommendations, and I don't see a need at this time to place any more mandatory orders on anyone. I think Jim County residents have been compliant for the most part, especially the social distancing, and I see a lot of compliance as far as curfew and of course the essential workers and everybody else from what I've gathered as far as what we've seen out there. Most people are complying and staying home. So thank you to Jim County residents and everybody. And we'll do another little segment later, and we'll talk to most folks, and we'll monitor it on a daily basis to see how folks are doing and how the residents are complying. And like I said, for the most part, I've seen even the young, the youth. I'm very proud of the youth because they're complying. So anything else, Commissioners? I think we're just.
Yeah, but you can obtain the distancing, that's when you need to
Exactly.
go ahead and use those.
Right. And that's for the most part at the grocery stores, just to have more. I think we need to be a little more conscious of a little more. I think our grocers and our grocery stores, the people that provide those staples to the residents, you know, when we're around them, that's the best time that I think that I've seen a lot of folks comply, and we need to continue that. And they stress that at the local grocers and some of these places that are essential where people visit on a frequent basis. So I think we're doing so far so good. So I think we'll just move along on to the next one, and we'll keep monitoring it as we move along. We'll keep monitoring. Anything else, Commissioners? Anybody else?
So, make a motion that we continue.
All right.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to continue in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Excellent, okay.
Judge,
Agenda item number 9, yes.
Margie was trying to say something, but I think.
Could y'all hear me or y'all couldn't hear me?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
We can hear.
Now we can.
I guess I
Go ahead,
was trying
Margie.
to speak. Well, y'all already made the motion, but I was just gonna say that I felt like I did some research this weekend, and then according to the disease control, our experts, they feel like they have advised us to mandate our constituents to wear a mask to protect each other. And then, of course, Juan Acuna had given us notice last week that the peak of our virus is not for another 5 to 10 weeks. And so if there's something that we could do to help from spreading and keeping the numbers low, I would advise that, you know, making everybody wear a mask would be a good thing.
Well,
Some people,
Commissioner
do not,
Gonzalez, we've already voted on it, and we appreciate your
well, yes, I
recommendation.
know, I was trying to speak and y'all couldn't hear me.
We do highly recommend that, you know, you use your mask when you go to like HEB, you know, to one of those public places where
Right.
common sense comes into play, you know.
Again, to reiterate the fact that our residents, for the most part, have been complying and been following these recommendations and been very, all I can say is to continue being considerate and use decency, you know, around the community. And that goes for everybody, myself, officials, residents, and the citizens of Jim Wells County, and everyone within the parameters of our county. So, but we'll continue doing that. And Commissioner Gonzalez, that's good. We can keep stressing that to our residents and to our constituents, and you know, on a friendly basis, we can continue reminding folks like we do out there to continue to abide by and comply with these recommendations without having to be ordered and having to be forced to do it. You know, our folks fortunately have been compliant. So thank you. Anything else, listeners? I'm going to move on to the next. Discuss and consider lifting current burn ban.
Mr. Acuña,
Morning, Commissioners. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Acuña.
So I
Yeah,
sent.
we can,
Go ahead. I sent out
Go
the
ahead.
recommendation last night, and I know a lot of folks have been asking for the burn ban to be lifted, and I spoke with all the volunteer fire department chiefs from Sandia to Orange Grove to Fremont to Ben Bolt, and we're pretty much all in agreement that the current burn ban probably needs to stay in place. Now, the rainfall that we received a couple of days ago, some folks, especially the northern sections of the county, received about 3 to 5 inches of rain, which was good. That brought them up to near normal, not at normal, but near normal. And a good portion of the county continues to be in D1 moderate drought. And in fact, the southern portions of the county out around Fremont continue to have a severe drought in place as well. So even though the rainfall was good, it was nice to see there was some localized flooding that occurred. It just wasn't enough to pick us up so far for the year. In fact, there's still some locations that are only about 25% of the annual total rainfall where we're supposed to be for this time of year. And I think I put out there that the Fremont Volunteer Fire Department fire chief said it best. He says that even though everything looks good, there may be some water in the ditches, and the top layer is green. The bottom layer of the grass is still very dry. And just like a couple of days ago, when we had low humidity and those temperatures nearing 100 degrees, that's pretty much prime fire conditions for us. And that's something that our fire folks really don't want to be dealing with. For the most part, they are saying that calls are pretty normal at this point, but almost every single one of them have agreed that the burn ban continues to be necessary at this point.
Mr. Acuña, so what's your recommendation?
I do recommend that we keep the burn ban currently in place. I do want to point out that I've received about 10 or 15 calls over the last week and a half or so from the Sheriff's Department and some of the other PD officers around the entire county, to be exact, literally from top to bottom, of special recommendations being granted to some citizens. Now, commissioners, I want to emphasize that the burn ban is in place not to look for ways around it. The burn ban is in place to protect the citizens, and granting permission to one person or another is kind of defeating the purpose at this point. And a lot of these folks are kind of getting upset, and they're saying either grant the burn ban for everyone or don't grant it at all. These exceptions that are currently in the burn ban right now are in place for extenuating circumstances at this point. So I just want that to be said and kept in mind, because those particular complaints have been skyrocketing over the last week and a half or so.
okay, how about, and you're referring to what we ordinarily had before when there's a burn ban, where there's those burn ban exceptions to burn when they're controlled ban. Are you talking about the controlled burns?
Assuming so at this point. I'm assuming at this point that those are some of the exceptions that are trying to get around it. But again, these are special circumstances usually have to be through the Sheriff's Department and get with the local fire departments as well. And also keep in mind that if these special circumstances are granted, the weather conditions have to be adhered to as well. No winds over 15 or 20 miles an hour. Usually in South Texas, that doesn't happen very often. And temperatures that are not skyrocketing either. So these past couple of days, we've seen exactly that. And just yesterday and today, I got about 5 calls from some commissioners, I'm not really sure who, that is apparently granting permission for some folks to be burning at this point. And with the current burn ban, that's well,
Mr. Acuña, we'll take your recommendation as far as continuing the burn ban, keep it in place, and we'll take it week by week and
For another
monitor.
week. Yeah.
Thank
There's
you
still
for
some
those.
more, there's still some more rain in the forecast. So of course, if we happen to get a big rain that benefits the whole county, then I mean, we can
We'll
certainly reconvene and visit it again.
Okay,
Yeah, there's still a lot of fuel and a lot of wind, that's a make.
a very
that's a
good
recipe.
combination though.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't need another emergency declaration at this time.
Very true.
Okay. All right.
Thank you,
Then,
Judge. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Cunha.
I make a motion, we keep the broadband in place.
Okay. I have a motion in the second.
I second the
I have a
motion.
Well, that's
All
already,
those in favor
actually,
say aye.
Judge, actually, the
Yes.
burn ban remains in place. If you were gonna lift the ban, you would need a vote.
Okay, so it just stays in place and we'll just skip on over.
Yeah, it can be a
And
no
table
action.
decided?
It can be a no action item.
Okay, all right. Okay, so, agenda item number 10, consider approving payroll and bills submitted by county auditor.
I believe everybody should have a copy of the payables, and I'll also send it off on Thursday for everybody to look at.
I make a motion to
Thank you.
accept the bills. For the exception of Fund 52 and 53.
I'll second it.
You're making a motion, Margie?
Yes,
I'll second it. I'll second it.
yes, we had already looked at our bills.
Okay. I'll third it.
And we too
Okay,
made a
so we have
second.
motion- We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and all those opposed? Motion passes. All right, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioners
very
Court.
much. Everybody,
Thank you.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Motion
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those,
Aye.
this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate
you.
it. Have a great day.
You too.
Robert?
Bye-bye.
Rob?